everyone, welcome to another episode of rawradianthealth.com, and I'm Natasha St. Michael, and thank you so much for joining me. So today we're going to talk about the durian. People have been emailing me, asking me all sorts of questions about this lovely fruit, and as you can see it up close, this weighs about maybe, I'd say a little bit less than 2 kilos, and it's quite spiky, so it's and heavy obviously. And this is a fruit from Southeast Asia, and it's known as the king of the fruits. The mangosteen is the queen, and durian is the king. It's a delicacy, and it's loved by most people living here. And it's a fabulous fruit. It's one of my favorites. I've been enjoying it to the maximum because right now it is durian season, so it's everywhere. It's plenty. And it's great. It's actually quite a fatty fruit. It's high in fat, it's got protein in it, it's got a lot of tryptophan in it, so that's why people feel really good when they eat it. And it's very, very sweet. I actually compare the durian fruit to cupcakes with the icing on it. That's how good it is. And yes, it does have an odor to it, but it's something that you do get used to, and you actually become quite fond of it. And there's different varieties of durian. You can get durian that is, you know, nowadays I think they've got a little bit less than 100 different varieties of durian, so some of them are much more sort of potent in their smell and their taste, and different textures too of durian, different color even. So there are some nowadays that you can get that have less of the odor, but I prefer a strong odor to my durians. So today I'm going to actually show you how to open one of these things, because it's not necessarily the easiest, and also for you to see what the actual fruit looks like and all of that. So, cool thing that I've been learning about durian, because I've been talking to a lot of locals about durian fruit because I get so excited about it, and they're excited to see foreigners enjoying durian, because that's not usually a regular thing. So, like in Singapore, they actually ban it from public transportation, hotels, things like that. Here in Thailand, they're pretty relaxed. I've been carrying around durian with me all over the place, storing in hotel rooms, everything, no issues. So, funny thing too, the other night, staying at this one place, and I left a durian outside, and half of it. And the next morning, I just grabbed it to go on to my next destination, and when I arrived, I looked in my durian bag, and someone ate the entire durian, put all the pieces back, and put the seeds back into like the shell of the durian, and like tied up the bag for me, left it where it was, and so when I arrived, my durian was completely eaten. How crazy is that? So everyone does love their durian fruit, and they'll even take it from you. So anyways, I will tell you one thing about durian which I found to be quite interesting, that I learned from a lady in Samui, is that even though it's durian season, depending where you are, there might be an abundance of it or there might not be very much of it, and it really depends on what the weather is like, because most durian that is grown in Southeast Asia, a great deal of it is actually grown for export, and so a lot of times, even though there might be an abundance of it, locals might not even be able to access it because it's all just being shipped off. And usually all durian that is being exported is exported before it's ripe. So they do cut it off the trees and ship it out. And so in Samui, I was told that the only ones that the local durian that we'd get is the ones that actually fall off the tree, that are tree ripen, and they fall off usually during stormy weather. So if there's not much rain, not much wind, not much high tide, then there's going to be less durian that fall to the ground for the locals to sell. So one thing I've noticed, which is pretty cool, is that when there's like a big storm, always the next day, plenty of durian everywhere to buy. But if good weather, might be a little bit difficult. So that's an interesting little tidbit of information to know. And what's just great being here is getting really the ripe, fresh stuff, rather than stuff that's shipped abroad, which is frozen, it's not ripe, and you know, it's just not the best. So, and it's super expensive. So this durian here, it this durian is about a little bit less than 2 kilos, and it cost about 70 baht, which is a little bit more than $2. So that's pretty good for this one here. And usually when you actually buy a durian, most places I've been to usually cut like a little opening in it, and you just smell it, and you also just squeeze it to make sure that the fruit is ripe, because the last thing you want to do is buy one, get home, open it up, and it's hard as a rock. Okay, so that's one way of just testing it out, and if it is rock hard, then you just leave it out for another day or two. Me, I prefer it to really ripen as much as possible before opening it. So now I'm going to open it so you can see how to open it and what the insides look like. Okay, so what I travel with, all I've been traveling with, by the way, has been like a steak knife right here and a fork and a spoon. And I always travel as well with a washcloth. And this has been great with the durian because you actually don't want to be holding the durian with your bare hands because it's very sharp. So it's always good to actually cover it with the washcloth, like that. And then you're going to first, as you can see here, the stick. I always cut the stick off first. And usually you can tell if it's a good durian is that the stick is solid. Okay? So that's one way of knowing if it's semi-decent or not. Then you're going to flip it up. This was already cut to just check if it was ripe enough, and so I always cut in the center here, like through. And then you can just cut it down. And you're just gonna rip it open. And there we've got our lovely durian fruit. And then I'm gonna take the pot out just to show you. So this is 2 pieces of durian right over here. Take one out. And that's our beautiful durian fruit. And yes, it looks, to a lot of people, it doesn't look like the most appetizing fruit, but when you eat this, it's phenomenal. And I especially like it when it is actually quite white and creamy like this. It's nice and ripe, and it's perfect to have right away. So for you just to get a better look at the inside of the durian, that's what it is. And pretty much there's 5 areas. So you would, over here you would cut this again, and there's more fruit hidden inside. So here is our lovely durian fruit, and I'm just going to show you what the pit looks like inside. So that's the pit. It's a big pit. And actually, they cook these, and it supposedly tastes like potato or something. And you can't eat them raw. There's just can't. There's a toxin in them, but that's why they cook it out. And that's the fruit there. It's really like creamy, yummy. So that's durian, and I love it. And yeah, if you have a chance, do try it out, because it's something too that takes a little while to get used to. I know quite a few people that first off, it's like the smell is just too much for them, and but then after a while, like if they try it a few times, then they start to enjoy it. For myself, I liked it from the beginning, but I also like things that like oniony and sulfur type stuff. This, by the way, is great to eat if you've got any kind of skin issues or dry skin, brittle nails, things like that, because it's got a high sulfur content, which is great for hair, skin, and nails. So that's it, you guys. I'm wishing you a fabulous day, and I will see you tomorrow. And I'm just going to show you the view from here because it's beautiful.